Today we're going to be writing and solving exponential equations that deal with a change factor, not a percent of growth and decay. Those will come later. So the equation that we use for solving exponential equations is this a times b to the x. Now the a value is the starting value. So when you're given a word problem, you'll be given an amount that is your starting amount. Or if you're looking at a table, your starting value is the place where x equals 0. It's really important to know in a table, your start value is where x equals 0, not necessarily the first value of your table, because tables can go on in either direction. The b value is talking about the change factor, what your equation is multiplying by. And it's important to know that when you have an exponential equation, they have to be written in terms of multiplication. Even if it looks like you've got a division pattern, we're going to be multiplying by a fraction. And then the last part of our exponential equation is going to be our variable, or our exponent, which is going to tell us how many times this pattern happens. Okay, so let's look at an example here. Last summer, I counted 3 cicadas outside my house. Okay, 3 cicadas outside my house. Each day, the number of cicadas I saw increased by a factor of 4. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our exponential equation. So we have to identify our starting value, which is going to be the number of cicadas we start with, which is 3 cicadas. So that's my starting value. We're going to talk about our change factor. How is this changing? It's changing by a factor of 4, which means we're going to multiply it by 4. And then as we're writing just our general equation here, we're going to leave our exponent as our variable x. Now this equation right here will allow us to find any possible value that we want for the number of cicadas. So when I look at this question where it says, how many cicadas did I see after 7 days? What that means is I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to plug in the 7 as my exponent. So to solve this equation, I'm going to have 3, my starting amount, times my change factor, raised to my exponent, which was 7 days. So this is something I'm definitely going to need a calculator for. So I've got my calculator over here. When I type this in, we're going to type it in exactly the way we see it. We're going to start with a value of 3. We're going to put in our parentheses with our change factor of 4. Now to do an exponent, we're going to use this little caret key here. That'll give me an exponent. If you didn't see that, what I'm using is the key that looks like this, the one that's right above the division sign. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're going to raise it to the power of 7 because we have 7 days, and then I'm going to hit enter. And we can see that after 7 days, I have 49,152 cicadas. That is really disgusting. So let's try another one of these problems. All right, so again, we're going to start off looking for our information here. It says you buy a car for $25,000. That's going to be my starting amount. Every year, the value of the car decreases. Oops, let's change that color. Decreases by a factor of 2. Okay, this one's a little tricky. So my starting value, that's easy, 25,000. But it says it's decreasing by a factor of 2. When it's decreasing, what that means is I'm really dividing it by a factor of 2. And I said we can't write a problem where we have a division rule. We have to change that into multiplication. So what we're really doing when we decrease by a factor of 2 is we're multiplying it by half. So my change factor is going to go in here as half. And because we're writing just the general equation, we're going to leave our exponent in x for right now. Now, to solve this next problem, it says, what is the value of the car after 3 years? Remember, that's where we're going to plug in the 3 for our exponent. So what we have is 25,000 is our starting amount. It's decreasing by a factor of 2, so that's going to be times 1/2. And we want to know how much it'll be worth after 3 years. So my exponent's going to be a 3. Now, when I type this into my calculator, 25,000, when I type in the 1/2 I'm just going to do it as a division problem. 1 divided by 2. That's my 1/2, and I'm going to raise that using my little caret key, the one right above the division sign, to the power of 3. And we'll see that after 3 years, this car is worth $3,125. Okay, so that's how you write a basic exponential equation and how you can use it to solve any value you're looking for.